guys, Ted from Nerdarchy here, for Nerds by Nerds, hanging out with this nerd,
Dave.
So today we got another GM91. That is, you enter the room and there is. So we got that guy at LX, and he's running a game for a group of people who are new to D&D, and he wants to know, how do you make pre-initiative more interesting and not just declare this is combat?
Well, before we roll initiative, why don't you guys head down to the description where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter, get weekly tips, and learn how to game with Nerdarchy. So he's also, his background is also that he's used to playing with hack and slashers,
right?
And he wants to make things more interesting and have more dynamics and more RP in the game, and he wants to think out of the box,
right? So, you know, combat is one of those things that sometimes it's a foregone conclusion, and there's sometimes that players are going to acknowledge that or interpret that, but really every single room you go into where there's another person there, you don't walk into a room and draw your weapon and assume you're going to just start fighting. You know?
That's what I do. Ted, and I walk in a room, I'm like, I draw my sword, I'm going to attack him before he can attack me. I know he's got that armor training. The only thing I do is strike first.
So, like, you have to look at every room as the same, whether you're walking into an inn, whether you're walking into a den full of gnolls, whether you're walking into, oh, there's a tiefling at an altar and there's fire elementals.
He uses the example of, you know, the players walk into a room and it's a tiefling praying, and there's braziers of there's some kind of braziers or something that are disguised as fire elementals.
Right.
I mean,
the fire elementals to disguise as braziers.
Yeah, not the other way around. The other way would be kind of silly. So, like, he's overthinking this. Like, literally, you walk in the room and you interrupt the tiefling's prayers. What are you doing? You don't have to say anything. And no one. Why initiative? To talk first, unless unless someone goes, well, I'm going to go stab him, or I want to shoot him, or unless they do something that was going to require an action. First, determine: do you think the tiefling was surprised for them to walk in? Do you think they were surprised by the tiefling praying? And then from there you can determine, like, an order of actions, if there's going to be an action.
Mm-hmm.
So if you determine that the tiefling was surprised, you might go, and the rogue goes, I'm going to fire my crossbow, and you go, okay, make an attack roll, and then now it would be initiative, because clearly
combat is going to happen.
Combat is going to happen, or maybe it's not. Maybe the tiefling, like, drops to his knees and begins groveling and begging for mercy. Hoping to delay the party long enough for the fire elementals to ambush them, or maybe he really just wants to talk for whatever reason, or the players come into the room and go, oh, there's a tiefling praying. Well, that's when you just say, what are you doing? And if it's they can choose to talk to the tiefling. They can try and intimidate him.
Before we go any further, that is a DM's most powerful tool. What are you doing? It's 4 words, and it gives the players unrestricted access to anything in their imagination, based on where they are. If you're stuck as a DM, if you aren't sure of how to proceed, whatever the case may be, is you can always go back to that phrase, and don't do it with shyness or unease. Say it with confidence. Okay, what are you doing? Just put it out there. I do it all the time. It's a way to get an idea of what the players want to do at this very moment. I've run entire sessions entirely based on that phrase. All right, Dave just dictated what's going to happen tonight. I'll run it on the fly. Off we go. Have fun.
But also, too, like, you can... So, here's the thing, right? They open a door. You describe them interrupting the priest praying, or the tiefling praying. He can react to that. He can be startled. He can seem not to notice them. He can say something to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's all these things that could happen that don't actually require initiative.
Right.
Talking's a free action.
So if you are looking to have this tiefling interact with them, either, as Dave was saying, a stalling tactic so that the fire elementals can attack, or if you don't want this to be a combat, if you want it to be just a social encounter, you can have them just have a conversation. Not everything in D&D is about me fighting what's in front of it.
here's how I plan my combats, right? I set up the encounter as a combat, but if the players do something more interesting than the combat, I just go with it.
Absolutely.
Like, in my Spelljammer game, I basically had, like, almost like this, what are they, Galley-Dur or something?
Galley-Dur?
Yeah.
Okay.
Elementals, which I basically reskinned as comets. Mm-hmm. And I attacked the party with them, but then the party like didn't even fight them. They like started talking to them instead, even though they just tried to crush them. And then and then from there, like a conversation happened, and they're like, "Oh, I guess there's no point in fighting." For whatever reason, like I don't even remember the specifics.
Right. I'll have to go back because I really don't remember that conversation.
But it went in a different direction that wasn't combat, even though it was planned as a combat. Just like your Tiefling and your Fire Elementals might be planned as a combat. But, well, what if the players say something to the Tiefling that goes, oh, this is actually a better option? Like, what if they're like, well, we don't actually have a beef with you, but we're trying to do this other thing. Here's a +5 magic weapon to just get out of our way. Do they have that? Probably not. But still, like, whatever. Like, they just offer him something really sweet, and he's like, "Oh wow! Like, I don't actually want to even. I don't.
You have made me think. You've made me rethink my life choices.
yeah, pretty much. Like, so I think you're just overthinking it. I think you're doing great as a new DM from the little bit of background stuff you gave us. You're on the right track. Just keep going with it and trust your instincts.
Absolutely. Kudos on the willingness and interest in trying a more RP arc versus
and stepping up as a new DM, bringing new players in, all that stuff. So yes, golf clap to you from Ted. But no, just keep it up. Hey guys, if you got any suggestions, drop them in the comments below. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You could head over to Patreon and support us there.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.